So, Grant, are you ready to play a game?
I'm always ready. I was born ready.
All right, everyone. So, today we're going to play a game with Grant, and I've got two lovely guests with me. They are from this podcast called Games Sold Separately. Basically, the concept is they come up with video game ideas, they come up with levels, and then they come up with a name at the end. So, I asked them to come on the show to come up with a video game idea that they're going to pitch to Grant, and Grant is then going to describe how he would do the music. So, please welcome Games Sold Separately, Zach and Logan. What's up, guys?
Heyo.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Ooh, Logan or Zach's being dramatic.
Zach had a
Yeah.
nice little spin
Hello,
there.
And Trevor, it's nice of you to have us on your podcast.
Yeah. So, guys, I guess you guys have a game to pitch to Grant. So take it away.
Boy, do we. All right, Logan.
All right, Grant. We know you've probably heard a ton of game proposals in your life on what you if you want to do the music for these kind of games, but we've got the best one that you have ever heard.
All right.
It's called Dynamite Vampire Hot Pursuit. And what this game is it is about a vampire detective named Edward von Samsonite. And it's like a 2D kind of point and click adventure kind of game. And Edward doesn't want people to know that he is a vampire. And he has a sidekick whose name is his sidekick just wants to be a vampire. He loves all of the vampire things, so he acts like it. And so his name is Derek Smith, but that didn't sound vampire enough. So he changed his name to Derek Von Smith, and he is hanging out with Edward, trying to learn how to be a cool detective and learn how to be a vampire. And along the way, there is a guy named Brad Helsing, and this is like your macho man. I imagine like Rambo straps. He is a vampire hunter. He is trying to find, he knows that there's vampires in this city, but he doesn't know where. But his best friend, Edward von Samsonite, he knows he is not a vampire. And so they go around solving mysteries, but they keep coming up against all of these classic like vampire tropes. And Zach can take it away a little bit more with the story on that.
All right, yeah. So you play Edward von Samsonite. You are a vampire detective. There has been a murder, and you have to go on an adventure to try to solve who killed this person. And Brad Helsing is convinced that the murderer is a vampire, and so he is hunting a vampire, and you are working alongside of him as a vampire, but he doesn't think you're a vampire at all, right? And so, yeah, but you keep coming up on these tropes like, oh no, you can't progress to a certain area because there's a bunch of rice on the ground. And one of the old vampire tropes is that you can't progress. If there's rice on the ground in front of a vampire, that vampire then has to count every single grain of rice, right? So just stuff like that. I think in reference to things you've done before, this would be more along the lines of like a Grabbed by the Ghoulies kind of sound, just it's a little creepy. It's it's lighthearted. And there's a lot of laughs, a lot of goofs and gaffs in it. But it is like a monster, dark, Transylvanian type setting. And that's pretty much the pitch right there. It's I think in terms of gameplay.
I like it. Well,
yeah.
I think about, sometimes it's good to try and pitch to attach certain kinds of stuff to certain characters.
Yeah.
So to the detective guy, you would need to be that kind of, that film noir sort of sound for the detective guy, like sort of vibes in the back, little vibe chords going, whoa, 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 as you wander around, sneak around like that. I like that kind of vibe sound. It sounds like it's cool sound, a little bit of pizzicato strings probably, something like that. For the vampire himself, so that's what's the vampire's name?
He's Edward von Samsonite.
So I guess like that, I would think, because you need to keep it not lighthearted, not too scary. I guess
Definitely.
That kind of Mad Monster Mansion-y sort of sound to it. So it's got dark harmony, but it's in a fun rhythm. But I'd sort of go for that kind of Beetlejuice approach to that. So it makes it, you're still using that kind of dark thing, but it's lightened by the rhythm or it's lightened by something else. So you're not just got that big oppressive darkness of like a Dracula chord. It's got, like in the Hammer films, you've got that kind of something lightens it. So you may be using dark harmonies and dark melodies, but you've got something in the background that sounds comical, like coconuts or something.
Yeah,
like
that'd be sweet.
Yeah, so it keeps the humor in there. And what's the other character?
So we've got Derek Von Smith,
He's
who
just a
is-
regular guy.
He's a
but
regular guy.
He wants to be a vampire.
100% human.
All of the vampire tropes that he's read about and everything, he will follow them. So if he sees a grain of rice, he doesn't have, or if he sees like a pile of rice, he doesn't have to count them, but he's going to. Like, he has to be invited into a building in order to go in that building.
Yeah, and that's a very big gameplay mechanic because there are so many times where you could just send Derek into a building to go get something, right? But he believes he's a vampire and cannot go into that building without being invited. So Derek is humorous, but he's also very annoying.
So for that, what you need is you need to get some. So when you said there's a bit of rice on the ground, right? You need a big, massive vampire build up to like Derek going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then when he gets it, it's like,
right, yeah.
So when he starts counting, so it's like a big build. You think, oh my god, it's a big moment of vampireness, right?
Right.
And when he gets to doing these little tasks, counting his rice, it just flips back to like something that's comical.
Yeah,
maybe a dark harmony, but a comical thing, so you can tell it's meant to be that way.
Right.
So I feel like you need a mixture of all that stuff.
Yeah. So there is the third main character is he is Brad Helsing. It sounds familiar to Van Helsing, but Brad is more like have you ever watched Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
No.
Oh shoot. Well, there's a guy that has a chainsaw for a leg and he's very muscular and he's very rocky. He's a very rocky, long flowing mane of hair. This guy is a monster hunter, truly to the core. He's the baddest, right? He's
like a much more buff Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he might even have a chainsaw for a leg, but whenever he comes in, it's just, Brad's there because he yells. He's a very yelly guy.
Very big presence.
He's very hardcore. He's a very hardcore guy.
Well, you're going to need some kind of super low metal guitar for that, aren't you? You're going to need some really big crunchy power chords or something like that when he appears, so you know it's him. A little bit of leitmotif. So like when he turns up, you can tell that what you could do is you could keep the soundtrack going, but you can introduce a level of guitar. So when he turns up, you can just turn it up in the mix. Yeah. So when he goes away, you can take it away. So you can so the guitar always appears when he's like that. So I think a bit of Metallica-esque noise there would probably be quite good.
Yeah, let me pitch this one to you, Grant. So every time Brad comes into the scene, he comes in, he jumps, right? And then there's like a splash screen where it's him, and then the background is like black and red stripes, and it's like Brad!
Yeah, you need a massive power chord, don't you? That's what you need, a big, massive, grungy metal power chord there. I think that's what you expect to hear a guy like that. I think a bit sort of Duke Nukem-y, and I kind of feel
right. I think every time he enters the room, everybody knows it, and so I think definitely with the music, when he's there, you know it.
Yeah, you could write several ditties that were all different, but the same kind of sound, but so they don't get repetitive. So you'd write maybe 4 or 5, 6, 7 or 8, little guitar-based ditties that when he turns up, you hear those, so you know he's coming.
Yeah. So we forgot to mention the fourth character, who's actually the bad guy who committed the murder. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, guys, close your ears. Right? Okay. So the murderer. There's a lot of side quests in this game, so it's a pretty expansive game. But the murderer for the main quest line is actually a werewolf. Right? Vampires, werewolves. So the werewolf though is in the form of a cute dog who appears throughout the entire story, and it's that link, right? He's in every single chapter. He walks in, it's kind of comedic, blah blah blah, but you just don't know that he is the werewolf until the very end, when there's this whole scene between Brad Helsing and you and Derek, and then the dog comes in, and Brad thinks that you're the murderer because he finds out that you're a vampire, and then there's this dog that walks in. So this unnamed dog, is also he plays a big role in this story. He's in it. He's throughout the whole thing.
So I think you need that same thing again. You get a big build up.
Right.
But oh my God, it's a werewolf. And you see it's a little cute dog, right?
Definitely.
You're not seeing Monty Python and the Holy Grail where there's a rabbit that can kill you. Have you seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Heck yeah.
It's only a rabbit, and they walk and they take his head straight off, right?
Yeah.
You need that. So you need that kind of, oh look, it's a little cute, and you kind of kind of a little cutie tune as you approach the little dog, and then you just, and you need something that's a big, massive, like huge, like orchestral thing that sort of portrays that gravitas of that moment. But until that, it's a really cute little thing. It's a cute little dog. It's going to be great until he actually attacks, and you kind of get the big, oh my God, your head's gone.
And we could do somewhat of like a reverse of that. Maybe earlier on when you think, oh no, something's in the closet, that has to be the murder. And there's a big build of suspense and it opens and it's just the dog.
Right.
And then like kind of the reverse where then it's kind of like a letdown.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I think a good comedic thing with that would be.
Yeah. So theme song. I was kind of workshopping things. I'm like, hey, Grant, I'm a big fan. I was kind of workshopping things today. Okay. So I'm a huge fan of Grab by the Ghoulies. That's my favorite Rare game. It's my favorite game you've worked on.
Right.
So I was thinking, I don't want to steal that whole vibe, but our game needs a theme song. So I was thinking, Dynamite Vampire Hot Pursuit, right? You think that? It sounds similar, I know, but we changed it up a little. You think so? I don't think we need to work anymore on that one, right?
Yeah. What can I say? It's a hit.
I mean, hey, it's a one-hit wonder. It worked for Grab by the Ghoulies. It can work for Dynamite Vampire Hot Pursuit.
So what kind of game is this? Is it like an RPG? Is it a first person shooter?
It's like a point and click adventure game. Like you remember those old kind of super
like
frustrating
Pajama
games.
Sam? Like Pajama Sam?
Like Monkey Island.
Yeah, absolutely like Monkey Island. Yeah.
I love Monkey Island. Full Throttle. All
it's a
those
good one.
Day of the Tentacle. Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Those games are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and that would be how this one would work. And then I think we'd have to keep some of the annoying things that make that genre special. But
what do I need to get past this door? What do I need to get past this door? You need a blindfold to put on Derek to get him to go through the door or something like that. You just.
I love those point and click games. When I first started Rare, I played all of those, all the LucasArts ones. They were just fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's say there's a hub world, Grant. What do you picture that sounding like?
Well, I think that's where you'd have maybe a bit more of your like film noir, so it'd be very, very tame. I'm thinking pizzicato strings. I'm thinking vibes. I'm thinking, what else am I thinking about that? Maybe a bit of celeste at the top of it. So it's spooky.
Yeah.
It's a mixture between spooky and that kind of film noir. Humphrey Bogart sat with a cigarette with his trilby hat down, in the corner, and it's black and white, and that's how I'd see it.
Yeah, we do have a hub world. We talked about this in the episode. This is from episode 8 of Games Sold Separately. Where at the end of every mission or when you want to take a break, you go back into his detective office and then Derek is sleeping in the background, which is breaking the vampire trope right there where vampires don't sleep, right? So the comedic value is, all right, we're going on another mission. And Derek's like, I'm awake. I was awake the whole time. And so, but that whole menu section is just you at your desk, hunched over, maybe smoking a cigarette, working and trying to connect the dots. And but it does need to be a little bit comedic because you got Derek sleeping on the mattress behind you.
Yeah, I think the hub worlds it needs to come down because people often sit there and just sit there and leave it on for a while. So any hub worlds that I've done or kind of pause screens are always a bit tamer because you need to leave it on for hours. Like the pause menu in GoldenEye, like just something that kind of or Perfect Dark that ticks away that keeps the atmosphere there, so you don't lose the immersion.
Yeah,
it's not getting intrusive.
I think music that just brings you down, but also makes you want to go in again. Like, this feels good. I'm just relaxing right now. It makes you feel like you are Edward Van Samsonite and you are getting this case and you're sitting at that desk and you're taking the break and drinking the coffee. I love that. I think that's great. I think you're making some hits, dude. I think you're making some hits. I think we need to sign you onto the payroll, which is currently $0. But
you gotta make all of our we make $0, but you can have at least 25% of that.
You can have 25% of zero
for sound design.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I'm in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
There
cool.
We go.
Logan and
We
Zach,
definitely
success. We did it, Zach.
You need to mail us 5 cassette tapes worth of Dynamite Vampire Hot Pursuit music by Monday. We're expecting that by Monday.
I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Sounds
awesome.
perfect.
So much Logan and Zach, I think that would be an excellent game if it were real.
Right.
No, it will be. Grant's going to get us in with the guys he knows. It's all about who you know, guys. And Grant knows. We know Grant now, and Grant's going to get us in at least one of our games. Thank you.
There we go.
There you go.
Did it. Zach, we're finally doing it.
Yes. We did it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
See you
Grant.
guys later. Thank you.
Catch you later.
Anytime.
Cool. Grant, that was awesome. So you like the game?
I do. It sounds good. It sounds right up my street. That is. I like that kind of game.